Hello and welcome to the OverShadow ShadowCast with your host Thomas Anderson and tech wizard Abigail Moore.
Hello again, people.
Now, normally we start with what have I been playing, and we start with Abigail. But we're going to start with me today because we've had some technical malfunctions.
I believe it's called difficulties.
Yeah, no, this is a... Well, I don't even know if this is technical. My television kaputted. And so I sent it away for repair, and it was only supposed to be a few days, but it's been a couple of weeks now because it's under warranty, but LG are being rather... They have a habit, apparently, of being very slow to deliver the replacement parts to people when they need them. So I am waiting for my television. So I've been playing through the streaming system on my laptop.
Yeah.
Which it's not bad, but my laptop's not good enough to get any capture.
Oh dear.
And I've just been playing games that I would normally play anyway, but just multiplayer. I've not done any single player stuff because it's just too tedious to try and focus on that small screen. So unfortunately, I don't have any stories to tell or any capture to put with them, even if I did. So I have decided that I am going to skip.
Oh, and by the way, sorry, it's raining again.
And it's raining very heavily. But I'm just sort of hoping that if you're listening to this late at night and this is your sort of mood music for sleep, then this will help you get to sleep. And maybe we can claim it's not my voice, it's just boring people into...
Well, at least you said it, I didn't have to say it.
That is loud.
That is quite loud. Anyway, so shall we just press on? It's probably just a shower. One of the famous Scottish showers.
Yeah, well, my showers are quite lengthy, so let's hope it's not one of mine. So that's why I don't have anything. We're going to go straight to Abigail to see what she's been doing.
Well, the only thing I've been playing is Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes this week. Just sort of been trying to just sort of build up character unlocks. Managed to unlock what's her name now? The one that Gwendolyn Christie played in the movies. Phasma. Captain Phasma. Yeah, I think that's who she played.
Yeah, that's a good character unlock. That's so I'm heading towards her 7th star at the moment through the Galaxy Wars, but yeah, she's pretty good.
Yeah, so I've unlocked her through the Galaxy Wars bit.
The shop, yeah.
Yep.
That uses the green emerald money.
Yeah. And it's been really good. I've not used her in battle yet. I've just sort of been a question. Should I just be training her up to a high level and upgrading
as
her
high
abilities?
As you can, because she is a crew member.
Okay, so, and also was it Garazeb? You said also...
Garazeb Aurelius, he's a crew member, do the same, yeah.
Okay, because I think he's my most powerful character now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I've found a way, a piece of advice to you and anybody else playing it, to quickly do the Galaxy Wars, which is you can preset teams, right?
Yeah.
So I preset 2 teams, just one fodder team to run through, because you can't sim it until you've done 150 wins. I just put them in a battle and then fast forward it until they get wiped out, and then I use my actual team from then in. So it cuts the amount of time I'm having to actually spend in Galaxy War by half.
Yeah.
Because I'm basically just hitting a couple of buttons and then turning away to do something else. Like wonder where my television is and when it's coming back.
They shouldn't be that much longer, surely.
Well, I was given that whole it will be a maximum of 28 days thing when I first spoke to them.
Well then, it's going to be a maximum of 28 days.
So it's got 2 weeks left on that. My hope is genuinely just that they turn around and say, actually, we don't have that part, so we're going to have to replace your TV. That would just be much nicer.
Yes.
But, yeah.
Our TV went kaputski. We had to get a replacement for it because there was no hope for it.
Mm. Have you done anything else in Galaxy War? On Galaxy of Heroes?
I unlocked mods.
Yeah, they're really useful because...
But I don't know, it took me to a place where I could just buy stuff, and I've not been able to get back to that place. I didn't buy anything, I sort of was...
It's the mod shop.
Right.
You know, if you go into the actual shipment shop, you can scroll through the other shops.
Okay.
That's the best way of doing it. That's the way I do it.
Right, okay. But that's about it. That's all I've really been playing. I've not been playing much else this week. I've been busy.
They made a couple of changes which count as news, so I'll quickly bash through them if that's okay.
Of course.
They've unleashed a character I've been saying they should have for a very long time, Django Fett.
Okay, I have no idea who that is, but...
Have you seen the movies?
Yes.
He's the original template for the clone troopers. He's the bounty hunter, dressed all in blue.
Oh, what's his face?
Boba Fett's
Boba
dad.
Fett, yeah.
They changed some of the battles so that I think the dark side hard battles 5B and maybe 5C, they unlock Bastila Shan and Jolie Bindo.
Right.
And those are characters I highly recommend everybody getting, because I've built a sort of ultimate team in my head that I'm trying to get, and they're both in it, so I'd recommend that.
Cool.
And to you personally, I'd recommend getting Bastila. Have you used my Bastila? Because I changed my healer to Bastila.
No, I've not actually. I've just been simming everything. I've not actually been battling.
Right.
I need to start battling again because I'm gonna run out of
Sin tokens.
Yes.
I have 27,000 of those. See, by the time you get to the higher levels, they just chuck Sin credits at you, and there's nothing you can do about it. There's no way you can burn through the amount you end up winning.
Well, I've managed to not go under 300, so
you'll be
I've been between 300 and 400.
I started playing this back at a time where it was actually good value for money to spend 30 crystals to get 30 Sin tickets.
I've not used any crystals.
Yeah. I feel a wee bit hard done by because I did buy quite a few crystals for shards for Bastila with crystals.
Well, you can't exactly condemn them if they decide to change it up halfway through.
No, I feel a wee bit silly in myself, but then I realised that they're probably going to make most of the characters available that way, like, as in you can earn them with fights, so or legendary battles or something. So I'm going to end up sitting there with a bajillion crystals and nothing to spend them on. So there's no real harm in it because you make like 50 a day anyway.
Alright, okay.
So it's quite good that way. For an EA game, it's surprisingly player friendly in that regard.
Well, I can't remember the last time I played an EA game.
Wow, lucky you.
Must have been a tennis one or something like that from back in the day.
Wow, there's more stories about EA later on.
Oh wait, no, I have played EA games. What am I talking about?
So, is that all you've got?
That's all I've got.
I'm looking forward to unlocking Django Fett myself. They focus on the bounty hunters a lot in that game, so you need to squad the bounty hunters eventually.
I don't know who's a bounty hunter and who isn't, so
it tells you.
Oh well.
It's cool. Anyway, shall we move to the news?
Yes, for us, we have nothing else to talk about.
For we have nothing to talk about due to technical difficulties
of a television breaking down and people being slow to get the parts.
Yeah. So I mean.
Sorry. I've just remembered another piece of the news that I'll quickly throw in.
That's fine. I mean,
was
it the police siren that reminded you of it?
No, you talk about parts. Just reminded me of that piece of news. I don't know if you saw it.
We'll start with you then. Go ahead.
Well, Sony announced that they will no longer be doing their not replacement service, but their fixing service for PS2.
Yeah, in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've sent out letters to all registered PS2 owners and said they can get it sort of like polished up.
Yeah.
MOT'd would probably be the way of putting it.
Yeah.
One last time, and then they can then they'll not be able to fix it after what date was it?
I can't remember, but basically they said that they're just going to stop making the parts.
Aye, they're cutting the.
I didn't even know that was still a thing.
Well, it's only in Japan.
Oh.
You have to be you have to actually live in Japan to qualify.
Ugh. I have to send my stuff over to some people and maybe people I know in Japan. I don't know anybody there. I'll send somebody. I'll send you there.
I think it's like October this year, so you'd never.
I'll quickly go. I'll send you an express ticket.
Put me in the post, just cuddling
with the
PlayStation.
PlayStation.
We need this fixed. Yeah. I did see that myself actually. Yeah. It's quite sad because if you've got a PlayStation 2 and you're still playing it, then there's a reason for it. No, but in Japan, there's probably a reason for it. And also, if you are down that end of the scale where you can't afford anything else at the minute, then it's pretty sad if it did break like a month after and you weren't able to get it fixed.
I know, it will be the typical thing of the warranty expires the day after your thing breaks down.
The day before.
So,
oh, sorry, you had a comment in there. Yeah. Sorry. I thought you just said the warranty expires the day after it breaks down. I was like, that's fine. Yeah. It did make me feel a little bit concerned. Sort of in the way that PlayStation Vitas aren't available in the UK anymore. So if you
which one's the Vita? Is that the little handheld thing?
One,
oh yeah.
Because that's the only console you can get Persona 4 Golden on, which is a game I absolutely adore. I'm playing through it at the minute. No spoilers, please. But if that broke, I wouldn't be able to get it fixed or replaced. Because I think I might have actually been the person who bought the last one.
How do you know you were the last person?
Because they were telling me it wasn't for sale, and then I found it. Like the actual company selling it said, "Oh, we don't have any in stock," and then I found it on their website and bought it, and something got delivered to me. So I think I might technically have bought the last one.
Yeah, because I remember those things were everywhere. Like I knew loads of people that had them.
James Gray, who's been on before, he had one and he had it for a year, and his problem with the Vita was there was nothing to play on it.
I'm sure you could find it on eBay or something like that.
Yeah, but I think you're risking something when you go, because if you can't buy the console, it's doubtful the games are on wide sale, so you're more likely going to be buying them on the digital shop. And I always feel a wee bit odd about buying something on a digital shop when somebody else has owned the box, as it were. Because if it's an Xbox, PlayStation, computer, whatever, you don't know what software's in there that might be copying your card data.
I've literally never gone that far down the rabbit hole of what might happen.
I don't like it for that reason. I always buy mine's lovely and fresh and clean and squeaky and new.
And then for people like me, we wait for it to appear in discounted places. Yeah. Second hand, fourth hand.
Just in a bin.
I mean, I can't even remember the person I bought my PlayStation 2 from. It was at a car boot, and I paid 40 quid for it.
Yeah, car boots, yeah.
And it didn't have a memory card. I had to go out and buy one.
I remember I had some problems with a game that wouldn't play properly in the PlayStation 1, and PlayStation 2's backwards compatible for PlayStation 1, so I took it and my memory card round to my friends to see if the extra power in the PS2 would help me get past this loading up problem.
Yeah.
The memory card didn't work. Because it was the PlayStation 1 memory card wasn't compatible with the PlayStation 2, even if you were just using it for PlayStation 1.
I did it. Saves. I used it.
A PlayStation 1 memory card?
I used a PlayStation 1 memory card in my PS2.
Oh, no, wait. It wasn't the memory card itself, it was if you made a save on it from a game, but you made the save on the PlayStation 1. The save had to be made on the PlayStation 2.
No, I was able to play games from it.
No, you're not listening, sorry. I got it wrong first time round. What the problem was that...
No, I understand. If you saved a game while you were playing on your PlayStation 1 onto the memory card, you couldn't access that saved file when you're playing a PS2.
If it was a PlayStation 1 memory card.
Yeah, I was able to do that.
How?
I don't know. It just worked.
What PlayStation 1 were you playing?
What game or just what PlayStation?
No, I'm talking about the actual PlayStation 1 console, not the game.
Just a PlayStation 1.
So why wouldn't it work for me?
It was a grey one. I just had PlayStation written on it. I got it second hand from my cousin.
Right.
Who gave me 2 terrible games with it. One was Spice World and one was something else.
I know it didn't work for me, and it did work for you, so... Okay, that
maybe your memory card was corrupted.
No, I know what it was now. This is why there has to be 2 people at a podcast, otherwise I'd just be firing out incorrect information. It wasn't the fact you couldn't save between consoles, and it wasn't the fact you couldn't use the memory cards. Was your memory card an official PlayStation memory card?
I have no idea. It came with the PlayStation.
Yes, so it was. I was using a third-party
that probably
memory
be why.
card, and that's why it wasn't working.
Yeah, because the one we had, it was like thin but quite bulbous on one end, had like a little black.
And it was black or grey.
Yeah.
Mine was bright blue, see-through.
That probably wouldn't work.
It had hundreds of save slots on it, but that's what the problem was.
Yeah. So,
You were listening.
I was listening. I was listening.
You're literally listening. You're plugged up. The microphone is connected to your ears.
Yes, but you just look as if I was surprised if I actually understood what you were saying.
No, I thought I'd explain it wrong.
Your expectation of my intelligence must be quite low down.
No, I just thought I'd explained it wrong because I knew I was right. I knew this hadn't worked, so I must have explained it wrong. Turns out I hadn't. I just misremembered it.
So you were wrong.
I'm not very well, you know. This is just further evidence. This is just further evidence of my infirmity. Sorry.
It's pathetic. Truly pathetic.
You had a second piece of news?
Yes, so...
Madam.
Don't call me madam.
Madam of the very functional ears.
You're a very strange person.
Thank you.
Henry Cavill has been cast in the Witcher series as the main title character.
I heard about
because who was it that was saying, one of our guests, many guests, was saying that he almost missed out on the Superman thing because he
was playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but so his love of video games has led him to the Witcher series for Netflix. Yeah,
but that's because he's played the games. But he, I think he gave up playing Superman to do it.
Well, that's what they've said. Well, no, they never said that he's given up. It's speculation he will no longer be Superman. Just now it's still speculation, I think.
Yeah, but if it is the case, then it's because he's chosen to do this.
Yes.
And the simple fact of the matter is, I've not seen the Superman movies he's been in, bar Man of Steel, and I have to say that this is a good career move.
I have seen them. I've seen Batman versus Superman, and I've seen Justice League.
Yeah.
And I thought he was pretty good.
Well, yeah, but the movies themselves are shockingly shockingly bad from what I've heard.
Oh yes, the writing is...
Like even Man of Steel, the best thing about Man of Steel, when I watched it with my family and we just tore into all the plot holes and that made it fun.
It's nice having a Batman though that you can actually understand when he's playing Batman and not have that really weird gravelly voice that...
I'm Batman!
Yeah.
You've not played the Batman Arkham series games.
No, I haven't.
Because most of those have Kevin Conroy, who was the animated series Batman, and you can definitely understand what he's saying. Yeah. He's the best Batman, hands down, for me. But I get what you mean about Christian Bale, where he's like, where is it?
There's a really good video from How It Should Have Ended, which is... it's a parody of, Sound of Silence, but they call it Sound of Violence, and they get the guy who plays Batman's voice in the How It Should Have Ended videos to kind of sing the song of the Sound of Violence. It's very funny. Have a watch of it if you can.
There was College Humor who did him trying out his voices in that scene where he's hanging the guy upside down in the Batman Begins. So he does things like Christopher Walken and Al Pacino, and so there was no James Mason. I'm Batman. That sort of... James Mason to me always sounds like he is really confused but figuring it out at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm Batman? That sort of... he's working it out and confused at the same time.
So, back to what the topic was. Do you think that it's a smart move?
He will do a good job because the movie we went to see, I was telling you about the weekend, was Mission Impossible Fallout. Yeah. And he's fantastic in that. He really is.
He's a really good actor.
He takes it seriously when they take it seriously, which is why Superman, he turned up ripped without using any steroids.
Yeah.
And then...
He bulked it down big time for... he was not as bulky in... I thought in Justice League. He slimmed down.
Yeah, of course he did, because they weren't taking it seriously, so he didn't.
Did you know they had to CGI out his mustache in...
in Justice League, but it wasn't. He was never really supposed to be in certain scenes in Justice League, and that's why they had to CG out his moustache because it was his Mission Impossible Fallout moustache. And so what happened was that's probably why he bulked down to make sense in the Mission Impossible role, and then they suddenly had to bring him back in, and he was just like, "Well, I'm not doing this properly then. If you're gonna,"
it was a very weird movie. I thought I'd missed a movie. when I was watching Justice League. I felt like I'd missed one.
You know what it feels like? It feels like if you compare the Marvel universe, which I've been watching with my family, right?
Yeah.
To... Oh, wind. Did that just feel like we were in like a tree house or something?
Yeah, it did. It was really strange.
That was a really strong wind. Sorry, what was I saying there?
Comparing it to the Marvel movies.
Yeah, the Marvel movies and the way they make DC, right? You'd think they would have learned from Marvel and just done... Because Marvel had written like 25 years before they started. Iron Man was the taster to see whether or not people liked it.
Yeah.
If that was the case, then Suicide Squad was, and nobody liked it. But DC, they seem punch drunk. They genuinely seem like they're going, oh my god, let's bring Superman back in. Let's have Wonder Woman and the Flash and
Cyborg. Okay, calm down. Calm down.
It's just, what is going on?
I don't know. The DC movies just always seem so depressing to me. It's like there's a really funny... used to watch Arrow and the Flash.
Aye.
And one of them said, comparing Arrow and the Flash, it was like... talking about Central City where the Flash is taking it, it's like, but this is the fun city. This isn't the sad city.
Yeah, Central City. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the perfect comparison I've ever had to DC and Marvel.
DC should be better than Marvel for me because it's got my favourite superheroes in it, but they just don't know what they're doing with it.
No. So should we get back on track? We've seemed to have deviated quite a bit from
that. Well, no, because the news was him going to The Witcher, and I don't want too many spoilers or anything like that, so all I'll say about it is that he'll be good casting, especially if he likes the games and has read the books.
I didn't even realise there were books until I read the news piece.
The books are what everything's based on.
I didn't know that there were books, that's what I'm saying. I thought it was just a gaming series. But anyway, shall we go on to your news now?
Okay then, we'll go on to my news, so if you could... Is that... Just so I can see... Right. So we had some news stories last time about Bethesda, and we've got a couple more here. The last two stories that I've got are much larger. I thought we'd start with some smaller stories, build up. Bethesda has outsourced development of an online version of Fallout Shelter, which was a sort of I think it was partially... Was it ever? I don't know if it was mobile or not, but you could get it on the Xbox One and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Consoles like that. And they've outsourced an online... So it wasn't mobile then, sorry. Silly me. An online version to Fallout Shelter to a Chinese company, and it will release firstly in China. And then if it does well, they'll move it to the West. Now, Fallout Shelter, the original version made by Bethesda, made an awful lot of money because of its microtransactions. Now, originally, it was... microtransactions would probably get you a bit of currency, and you would use that to build up your shelter. That was the whole idea. You were building your own shelter. You then go out and do fights or whatever to get equipment and then build up your shelter a bit more with that gear. Now, they added in some microtransactions, and people would buy, here's £5 for this, £5 for that, and they'd be reasonable with what they bought, and it made them a lot of money for such a simple little game. And eventually they tried to bleed it too much and they ruined it. But obviously the hope is that they don't do that here, and instead what they do is they make money from this online version and funnel that into the DLC for Fallout 76. And hopefully they don't over microtransaction it, and they don't bring those microtransaction elements to Fallout 76. My hope is that they are not using this as a way of testing what they can get away with in 76. That's what my hope is.
Okay.
But it might be interesting. I wouldn't say anything about playing it or not, or even playing Shelter. What I would say is that's something to keep an eye on, because they might try and use its success to alter 76, because 76 is going to be a long-term thing. It's going to be it's going to be an ongoing thing, 76, because it's an online game.
Yeah.
So they might try and start bringing some of the stuff in, and I just hope they don't. Another story regarding Bethesda is that they seem to be attempting the ban of resale of their games.
I remember you telling me this last week.
Yeah. An individual bought a game from them that was still in its wrapping. It had never been opened. He'd never got round to playing it. and he decided he wasn't going to, so he tried to sell it on, and he marked the game down as new. And Bethesda ordered them to take it down under threat of legal action.
Yeah.
And the reason that they gave to people was that you cannot describe it as new if it's been pre-purchased. Now, the problem with that is legally in America and in the European Union, you can. Because you're in America, I think it's protected under the Constitution, but here it's protected under law as well, that you cannot ban someone from selling what they own. So if you buy a game, you're allowed to sell that on. You have to give an accurate description of its condition, but if it's still in the packaging and you say new, that's still completely acceptable.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. If you go and buy a physical copy of a game from a shop, they've technically had to get that game from the original maker.
Right.
You don't buy Fallout from Bethesda, you buy it from Game or original Game Station or Electronic Boutique years ago.
Yeah.
You weren't buying it from Bethesda.
No.
So the point is that that's sort of the whole point. You're allowed to sell what you own as long as you don't mismarket it. And Bethesda was saying that's not acceptable because it's been owned by someone, so it's not new. Well, it's condition, not unsold. Nobody's claiming it's unsold. And secondly, I mean, if you bought a game from Game that somebody else had bought and then said, I don't want that, and traded it back in, as long as they've not unwrapped it, they can sell it as new. So I don't understand. The reason Bethesda are getting angry is simply because they can't get any money from this transaction.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But they were trying to say that if there's something wrong with the game, they'll come to us for advice and help, not to the actual seller. Well, here's the thing. If the game is broken, they will go back to the seller. Just like if I bought it from Game, I'd go back to the seller and demand a replacement or a refund. If there's something wrong with the actual, like there's a bug, they're going to go to you no matter who they buy the game from. Because you're the only ones that can fix that.
Yeah.
And it's already, remember, this game is unopened, it's already in there, which means you're the ones responsible for it.
Yeah.
So none of this makes any sense, but unfortunately, because of the threat of legal action from a multi-billion-dollar company, the guy had to take it down because there's no justice in civil suits. Because if you run out of money, the person who still has money wins by default.
Yep.
You can't take on, a singular human being cannot take on a multi-billion-dollar company because all they do is deliberately prolong the case until you can't afford lawyers anymore.
Yeah.
So he had to take it down. He was bullied into taking it down. So Bethesda lost quite a few points of respect in my book for that.
No, that is such a silly thing to do.
Yeah. Because that's what turns people like me against Bethesda, who I absolutely admired before. And now that's just disgusting bullying behaviour, that's all it is. And I'm not...
Best pleased.
I'm not at all. I feel quite sick, actually. You can't respect a company that bullies people because they're bigger than them. Right? You can't go around saying Donald Trump is an absolute beep, 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 and then respect people who do what he does. I know it's the most extreme version, but everybody's heard of Trump, so it's kind of a good way of comparing what they're doing.
Okay. He'll go after you, though, so that's fine.
Trump will come after me, and that's absolutely fine. I'm Scottish, we're immune. Remember, we have the same genes, it's just ours are untainted.
Don't ever say that again, please.
No, we have the same...
I choose to deny that truth.
We'll use Zimbabwean or whatever, but we've got the same genetic makeup, so the weapons he uses against us, we're immune to.
Just because my grandparents are from Scotland, okay? So they're I'm Scottish.
So your DNA is entirely Scottish.
Pretty much.
I remember... that's a good piece. Sorry. Are we done with that piece of...
Yeah, if you want to be done with it.
Yeah, because I just realised, I remember that Forza Horizon, I think, just released a Halo thing.
Yeah.
The Forza Horizon 4 will have a Halo addendum on it, that you're able to drive the Halo Warthog, but it's on the Halo ring. I know you won't understand that, but that's the setting for the Halo game.
Because you were looking at me like I would understand it.
No, the setting for the Halo game. You're actually driving on the Forza Horizon 4.
Okay, I'll pretend to know what that means.
And you know how the map for Forza Horizon 4 is basically England with...
Like 2% Scotland.
2% Scotland, which is going to be the best part, and then a little bit of Wales, which people are going to forget is even there.
Yeah.
Well, you can... I saw a video, I think it was James Gray found it, that they've previously had the Warthog in Forza games.
Yeah.
But I think this is they're putting it in this one as well. I think this might be the first Horizon game with it. And it seems to be that the suggestion from the video is that you're driving it on the Halo ring.
Right.
The setting of the Halo game, not the setting of the Horizon game.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be interesting to see what they do with that. But I was saying this the other day, I would love to tear around Edinburgh in a Warthog. Just like smashing through everything you come across.
I need to see what I need to see what actually one of these warthogs look like, because I just keep imagining like an actual proper warthog. You talk about warthog, so I don't know what it looks like.
Well, this is viewers and listeners.
Was it a quad bike or something like that? Did you say?
No, that's a mongoose. Viewers and listeners and all sorts of other peoples. We're now about to find out a potentially horrifying truth about all the hard work I've done. Have you ever watched one of the podcasts?
I have watched them, but I can't remember what they all look like. I need to actually sit down and look at an actual picture and not watch all these clips just go by.
Right, fair. I'll send you a picture of a warthog.
Send an actual picture.
I might even try and find this video and send you that as well, so you can see what I mean.
I do actually watch them.
All
I
right.
do.
Okay, well the warthog is the gigantic four-wheeled one with a gun on the back.
Okay.
But yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with the Warthog, because they had them before, but I think they were in the motorsport games, not in the Horizon games. So it'll be interesting to see what you can do. And I hope they don't make it like you have to pay 10 quid, because that just upset me. Sorry, that's actually not on the list of news, but it's something I just remembered while we were talking there. Okay, so we've got some Activision news. Activision are now the publishers of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, which is a samurai game. We spoke about it before, I believe, on the E3 roundup, where you're a samurai, fighty. Samurai seem
I know
to
what
be,
a samurai is.
Yeah, samurai seem to be the because there's another game coming out with samurai included in as well.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is though.
Yeah, they seem to be all the rage at the moment. But it's developed by From Software, and they made Dark Souls, so you know this game is going to be tough, really, really tough. It's about weeding out the bread from the chaff.
It's called the wheat from the chaff, not bread from the chaff.
I know, but this is so tough. You've already kneaded it, and then added in all the other stuff you need to make bread, and you've boiled it in these sort of like ovens of hell and created bread by the time the chaff has already just fallen. The chaff is still falling from its 107th death by the time you have made bread. And there is a... See, this is the thing. This is a sort of, which way is this going to go? Because Activision are money grubbing, just, you know, like money, just like EA.
Yeah.
So the question is, why are they sponsoring, publishing, supporting this game? Because according to From Software, they're actually supporting the development. So why are they doing that? Because Dark Souls are great games, but they are not huge sellers, because people know that if you can't handle a tough game, you couldn't do it because you'd lose your temper.
I mean, I watch people play it and they lose their temper. These are
seasoned.
I'm not a maniac.
Even Vinny Caravella, my video game hero, says that when he plays it,
I'm a maniac.
Yeah, says that when he plays it and his wife's in the room, his wife has to behave differently because she knows he'll behave differently while he's playing it. So even the most amazing, like good-hearted, good-natured people will be wound up by this. So they don't sell an insane amount of copies. They do really well, but you're not talking about, you're not
talking about, like, say, a Mario Kart game, for example, that it doesn't sell that well.
They don't sell well? Or it doesn't sell as well as that?
Doesn't sell as well.
Yeah, it doesn't sell as well as FIFA, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
So why are Activision getting into this? And it's been... One is a good possibility and one is a bad one. One is a possible bad possibility is that they're going to try and get From Software to make the game easier to sell it to more people, which would make the game pointless. Now thankfully From Software have said so far that they're in total control of the game when it comes to stuff like that, so they would be the ones making that decision if it ever happened. And that they have no interest in doing that. But Activision might bully them into it at some point, and that's a bad outcome. The potential good outcome is that Activision have seen that there is definitely a market for single player games, and there will always be one. Because that's what Xbox have recently realised by buying all these smaller game studios.
Yeah.
So hopefully this means Activision are going to start doubling down on single player video games. Hopefully that's the response that we'll get. But we'll have to wait and see. But I felt this was worthy of talking about because it has such big connotations. Either Activision are going to interfere with what single player games are coming out and try and crush them.
Yeah.
Or they're going to interfere because they see the potential in them. The fact there's still a market. But it sort of links back to the single player conversation last time about Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Yeah.
And then I went off
on one.
Mental. I've not even played Watch Dogs 2. I've just seen the artwork and I went mental. Absolutely mental about the characters. The picture I chose for that podcast was so people could see the characters to see why I was going insane, but all you can see is the backs of 3 people, and that was enough.
I need to get you out into the real world more, don't I?
That was enough to make me go absolutely mental.
I'm going to drag you out.
Absolutely hated it. Anyway. What's your opinion on this?
Well, it's interesting as to why they're going to be backing up a new game, unless eventually down the line they're going to try and intertwine the two things somehow. Or they're just trying to back more than one pony.
What do you mean?
Well, you said that you don't know why that they're backing, I can't pronounce that,
Sekiro
Shadows Die Twice. You said you don't know why they're helping to produce it.
They're publishing it and they're giving advice vis-a-vis developing it. They might even be given funds, I don't know. But maybe
they're going to buy it up, I don't know.
They might be. Maybe they're going to see how well it does and buy it. But this is a Japanese studio. They are a lot more resistant than Western studios to be purchased.
Don't know. They might just be trying it. They might try it out. You don't know until...
It might be a good outcome. They might just... But what did you mean by...
Or maybe other way, they're going to be bought out by this company instead.
I don't... From Software are quite small. I don't see that happening. But... what was it you were saying?
I don't know. I think I was just talking nonsense. I was talking about maybe like in the future they're going to merge the two games. That'd be quite fun.
There's only one game.
No, Dark Souls and...
No, well... They might, but I don't think so. Dark Souls is a different game series made by From Software.
I know.
I was just trying to work out what you meant by that, but it was...
You asked me what I think, I say what I think, and you think I'm talking nonsense.
I was wondering what you meant by that, because I was confused by it, but I see that's what you meant. You meant combining those two. I would say to that probably not, because From Software said there's not going to be any more Dark Souls games, and Dark Souls...
Oh, isn't there?
No, it's just the 3, and Dark Souls was published by Bando Namco. Namco Bandai. Oh, pardon me. Namco Bandai. Oh, what the hell?
I'll definitely be keeping that in.
Oh, pardon me. Right, sorry. Just waft that away. So I don't think that would happen. But it's an interesting idea. If it wasn't published by another company, it might be interesting. But I think Namco would be able to stop that because they have publishing rights, I think. To Dark Souls.
So should we move on?
Okay. So small piece of update. Aperon, the KOTOR, I was going to say Call of Duty for some reason, the KOTOR Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic mod, which is being made in Unreal...
I'm sorry, when did we start speaking droid? So anyway...
I've had my own technical malfunction in my throat. So sorry, I started to get Aperon, the mod made for Knights of the Old Republic, it's made in Unreal Engine 4 and it's to update the game by revamping essentially everything, probably even adding in more content, has revealed the Darth Malak character, which looks incredible. They've done his eyes as well. So in the previous game, his eyes were just like normal eyes, but they were like really dark brown. In this, they're like really orangey hazel. Because they've been able to work with a lot more definition, so they're able to. I'm just pointing at my eyes. But it's doing this. I'm just pointing at my eyes and swirling my finger around.
No, it's just such a funny. Like I don't. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah.
The eyes are so detailed.
The eyes are very detailed. I'm like the demon headmaster. The eyes are very detailed.
That's really creepy. Don't do it. Look, you're going to touch your eye there. Focus yourself. The eyes.
Yeah, so Darth Malak, he looks really good. I recommend you go and have a look. It's an interesting character reveal because they started with T3M4, they went to Bastila Shan, and then they went to Darth Malak.
Yeah. Which
is interesting because they've not started with the main squad or the main character or even the most. Yeah, I mean the top two would be Bastila Shan and Cartho Nazi, so it's interesting that they've done it this way. And I think it might just be that it's indicative of the fact that they're just releasing these character models when they're done, rather than in a certain order.
Okay.
Because it's made by Poem Studios, it's quite. That's a small outfit, so they might just be releasing them when they're ready to go, rather than in a specific organised order, because they just don't have the staff to make these up in a certain order. They just have to work on what they can work on.
Yeah.
They've recently also revealed some more scenes of Tatooine and Harakert Rift, which is an underwater area of Manan, which was an ocean planet.
Okay.
Which was probably my favourite planet.
Was the ocean? No, I was about to say, was the ocean planet not that one that was it Jar Jar Binks was from?
That's Naboo. It's not. No, you might be thinking of Camino, which was also an ocean planet, but.
I don't know. I just remember they went down in the water in one film.
Yeah, it was that they went in underwater in that mission. Mission in that film, yeah, but it was just a normal planet with oceans.
Okay.
They also revealed a blaster pistol model.
Yeah.
Which looks really in depth compared. I see the problem I've got though is I liked the old blaster pistol models. They looked chunky, like big chunky bricks with triggers. Whereas now they look a lot more cylindrical, and I'm not sure how happy I am about that. But I have to say objectively they do look really good. Okay. So it'd be interesting to keep. So that's just an update. There's not much to talk about there. I'm just. You're
just excited.
I'm excited for it, and I'm keeping people
bouncing up and down for it.
I'm keeping people up to date on what's happening. So these are just very quick sentences. I'll just bash these out. CD Projekt Red's just announced Thronebreaker: The Witcher Tales, which is apparently an RPG based on the Gwent card game. I don't know much about it at the minute, so I'll probably get back to that next week or in the future. But it's interesting because that's a nice, happy wee piece of news from CD Projekt Red that they're still creating Witcher stuff, and it's always nice when you hear that there's more Witcher stuff because the Witcher games are so incredible. So it's always nice.
I need to play one of those one day.
You need to play all three.
Okay.
Well, they're computer games and you're getting a computer.
At some point.
Yeah. THQ Nordic.
Stock.
No, we're just going to have to bully them about that. That's ridiculous. I checked every address I could find for a Scottish shop and they're all out of stock. I'm just going to phone them up on your behalf and start bullying them.
No, don't. Please don't.
No, I'm not going to mention you. I'm phoning on behalf of my mistress, Abigail Mott, vis-a-vis the Chester and the this is her address. This is her email, phone number. I'm going to bully you now.
Blood type?
Well, it's not Japan. We don't need to tell them blood type. But it's ridiculous. So I'm going to get on to them, even just for my own peace of mind.
I wish I'd never brought it up. I wish I'd never asked you to have a look at that computer for me.
Oh, come on. We need to get that sorted. It's ridiculous. Anyway, THQ Nordic has bought the IP. Oh.
Have I just brought on that?
No, I just had to stop there because this is such a lovely piece of news. It's making me very happy inside. Ooh.
You see, you started doing that before you told me why you were doing that, why you were rubbing your chest.
I was just standing here rubbing my chest. I was sort of imitating happiness and sort of like tucked up in bed sort of thing. But I was just rubbing my chest, not explaining anything.
That was so creepy.
Yeah. THQ Nordic has bought the IP for Kingdoms of Amalur. No, we're talking about that. That's too good. That is incredibly good news because I absolutely love Kingdoms of Amalur. I think it's one of the most underrated games. It undersold by... Their target was to sell 3 million copies. They undersold that because they sold 1.2.
Yeah.
But they sold 1.2 million copies and they released it at the same time as Skyrim.
Yeah.
Which is a huge game. Fantasy RPG.
Yeah.
You've seen the...
I've heard of Skyrim.
But I showed you the videos for both Amalur and Skyrim, yes. Yeah. And Skyrim was the one you went, ooh.
Because it seemed to be the most interesting game.
Yeah. See, everybody I know that's played Amalur says it's great. It's people who didn't play it that don't like it.
I can't remember which one Amalur was, but I just remember Skyrim looked epic and then the rest just looked... I don't understand what was going on at all.
Yeah, I understand that from the trailer, but I think genuinely that Amalur, especially its leveling up system, is really great.
So what does that actually mean? I understand. I know what an IP address is, but...
Oh no, IP is intellectual property.
Oh, okay.
So it's not an IP address, it's intellectual property.
I didn't understand that.
And it basically means they bought the rights to make more games.
Okay.
But they also bought the rights for the planned but not made MMORPG that was supposed to come out after Reckoning, because there was a whole series of games planned, right?
Yeah.
And what the THQ Nordic, if you look at their track record for things like Darksiders and things like that, what they do is buy it, remaster it, release it to see whether or not it's going to do any good, and then make a sequel.
Right.
So but THQ Nordic I don't think are big in MMOs. So they might make a single player RPG, which is thumbs up news for single player games again. I love single player games.
You are so unsociable.
Yep. Well, no, because most of GTA 5 online, Brian, Halo 5 online,
joking.
other friends.
I'm joking.
I just don't like going outside. So I am pure stoked and stuff for this. That's the best piece of news I've had in a long time.
So we move on to the next one then.
Yeah, the first piece of Halo, the best piece of news I've had, not given. All my news is fantastic when I give it, but that's just the best one.
Says you.
The first of the Halo Master Chief Collection update patches has been rolled out. Unfortunately, I've not been able to test it because my TV is Putin. But when I do get it back, I will test that. And I'll also test why my voice keeps doing that. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they've done. Even just in the menu system to see if that's one of the things they've updated in the first patch, because they were planning on doing that. Because that game was just a software nightmare, so hopefully they've fixed that.
Should we go to the...
Yes, this is the two big pieces of very...
I thought it was just one massive news story.
No, I don't know how you've managed to combine Ubisoft and EA into one story, but that's just your special mind. Two fantastic pieces of newses, and I'd suddenly turned into Gollum there. EA is under investigation by the government... Well, not government, by the...
You've written it there, by the government of Belgium.
Yeah, I'm just trying. It's not the. It is the government, but it's not the government. It's the. What do we call it? The Procurator Fiscal in Scotland. What's it called in? Public Prosecutor.
Something like that.
Right. So it's the public prosecution in Belgium. That whoever does that here, it's the Procurator Fiscal, is investigating Electronic Arts because it's not removed gambling from its video games. Loot boxes have always, to me, been obvious gambling, but the excuses that have been given are that they're not gambling because the player always wins something, or that they are collectible card games. Right. It's not true, it's total nonsense, but that's what they say. And Belgium has now declared that loot boxes actually are gambling, so they are illegal. And I think they follow the Netherlands. I think they did it first, but I'm not sure about that. I'd have to double check, but I think the Netherlands did it first. and it's a punishment for gambling, illegal gambling, or loot box mechanics now in Belgium is a 5-year sentence and up to an €800,000 fine. But they can be double when a child is involved.
Which probably most will be.
Which it is. That they've actually, the Belgians have actually said themselves that the Belgians have actually said themselves that it's because of the number of children involved that they're doing this.
Yeah.
It's one of the big drives for it. And when EA were told that it was illegal, the response was, this is a quote, "We're going to push forward. We're always thinking about our players. We're always thinking about how we deliver these types of experiences in a transparent, fun, fair and balanced way for our players, and we'll continue to work with regulators on that." Okay, I'll just dissect that for a second, right? One, it's Looney Tunes. We're going to push forward with something that is now illegal. Someone's lost it. Two, it's not about your players, it's about your monies. It's about your monies. If a country gets away with making Madden and FIFA Ultimate Teams illegal, they lose billions a year. Genuinely, their company, whether it's mobile or console based, is set so heavily in microtransactions, this could crush them. They could actually go out of business.
Whoa.
Because if other countries decide to take that up, they're done for. Because that's two now in the Netherlands and Belgium.
Yeah.
So they're in trouble. But it's also, we'll continue to work with regulators on that. No, they won't. They've told you they're going to investigate you to the purpose of prosecution. That's not working with the police. When was the last time you heard, OJ, I'm working with the police? No, you're working against the police because they're trying to arrest you and put you in prison. They're on the other team. What kind of maniacs are these? Other publishers and games have already removed loot boxes. In the case of Shadow of War, they've taken it out completely, just from the game. Loot boxes are gone. I don't think that's restricted to Belgium. I think that's everywhere. And others have turned off paid currency. So in Belgium, Blizzard for Overwatch and 2K Games for their basketball games, they've removed loot boxes which you pay for with currency. Because that's the problem. If it's an in-game currency, no problem. If it's a currency you can buy, it becomes gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So they've taken out the ability to buy it. So that's a rubbish way of doing it, because the loot boxes are only there to make money. But that's what they're doing.
Right.
CD Projekt Red, on the other hand, has just come out, and that they've said is, we will leave the greed to others. That's their opinion on loot boxes.
Oh, that is shade.
Just CD Projekt Red, man, they just know what they're doing. As long as you're not basically unbelievably sensitive about every single tiny little thing, they get it right. So I think they're brilliant. What's your opinion on that?
Well, anything that involves a form of risk is gambling, so I don't understand why they don't think it's gambling.
I think the idea is that...
Well, obviously they know it is, but I don't understand how they're trying to spin it that it's not.
I think the idea is that if you buy like a pack of Pokemon cards, you could get a good one or a bad one, and then that dictates your ability to win.
Yeah.
So if that's okay, that's fine. But see, the thing is, you're buying a physical card.
Yeah, you're actually getting something.
In that, you're just buying the ability to win.
Yeah.
And you might or might not get it. So it becomes gambling.
Yes.
So that's where I think it... But what do you think of the reaction by EA that they're basically going to just push forward even though it's illegal? I understand why they've done it. I understand why they've done it, because they have to save their market.
They have to show face, but they're not going to lose. They are going to lose, sorry.
Because it's not even like it would be worthwhile doing that, because you can't pay a fine with illegal gains. I know in Scotland the Procurator Fiscal seizes your illegal gains and then applies a fine. So they're going to lose like $1 million a year.
Oh well, that's all I can say to that. Just don't.
In fact, it's not even going to be a year, because I reckon the Belgian government will just change its laws so that they can then apply extra fines.
Yeah.
So that they then get 10 million, then 20 million. All the while EA they're going to have to pay the Belgians so that this doesn't become a big deal. But then when other governments realise that the EA will pay...
Well, they're going to hop on that bandwagon.
Exactly. It's not... Unless they crush the Belgians and make them change their law, I don't see how it's going to work. Next move I've got... Okay, last piece of news. Ubisoft has revealed that Assassin's Creed Odyssey will have DLC, and some of that DLC will be paid, and other DLC will have story missions which will be free of charge. I think the paid DLC will also have some story stuff in it, but some story stuff will be free.
Okay.
Now it's probably going to be...
Just keep going.
Sorry, I just need to descend the testicles. It's probably going to be scheduled to be rolled out during the year in which there's no Assassin's Creed game released, which is 2019, next year. And they've also announced that there will be daily and weekly contracts to perform, ship or mercenary challenges, which probably boils down to battles. And they're also working on a new Game Plus mode and new mythical creature battles too. Now these things will be added after release. Because there's no game next year, it'll be to extend the shelf life of this game.
Okay.
Although that's a bit weird, because I've never heard of somebody putting this much effort in to extend the shelf life of a game just because they're not coming... That's usually if it's a 3 or 4, maybe 5 year period, not 1 or 2. But they're doing it, so that's thumbs up to them. They also plan to release a Discovery Tour for Odyssey for free, as they did with Origins. The Discovery Tour was basically just, you could take 15, I think it was, tours on like the pyramids or the Sphinx just around Egypt, and they would show you all the different landmarks and historical sites that there were all over. And you didn't have to do combat. They took all the enemies out of the game, so you could just run around and look.
Yeah.
So that was ancient Egypt, this is ancient Greece, and I think that's a fantastic addition because especially my auntie Rona, she really likes ancient ancient Egypt, and she was quite interested when I told her about the fact that you got this Discovery Tour and you could go inside the Sphinx, because she was obviously never able to go in it when she was there because you're not allowed.
Yeah.
So it's...
I didn't even know you could go inside the Sphinx.
There's a hole in the back of it, I think, which is covered up so they don't uncover it.
Right.
But I think you could get in that way. So to discuss the daily and weekly contracts, apparently there'll be battles or missions that you do, and you'll be provided a certain type of currency when you complete them, and that currency will only work in a certain shop, which you'll be able to use to buy certain weapons and armour.
Yeah.
It's very sort of Destiny-esque, a bit similar, I suppose, explain to you, Galaxy of Heroes, certain battles give you certain currency which you use in a certain shop. This is sort of the same thing. It's very Destiny-esque though, like I said, and I found that fine in Destiny, so hopefully it'll be good here as well. It will not be too tedious. It'll be a good balance, you'll want the gear, but it won't take too long to get, but it won't be too easy, and it won't be too game-changing. It's interesting though that the new Game Plus still has to be developed, and why it's not available at launch. And my logic would be that if the story is supposed to be 100 hours long, they think they've got time to add it in afterwards. But it would be nicer if it was there straight off the bat.
That's bad planning, trying to release something without actually completing it.
Well, the new Game Plus specifically, because if you finish the game and then immediately want to restart it, you might have to wait until they've added it in.
Yeah,
that's a bit strange.
That sounds really strange.
But it might be because of how long they think it takes to do it.
Right. So anticipating everybody's just going to take a very long time.
Exactly, but they have to get that out within the first week.
They've never met you?
No, I take a very long time.
Oh, okay.
I will just stand there for hours and just look at waves. It's sometimes they're just lovely.
I should take you to a real beach then, that'll be amazing.
No, that would be outside. Season Pass owners will get all the free DLC and paid DLC, obviously, which includes story arcs. I'll not go into too much detail about specific DLC, but I will mention this, that there's the Hidden Blade DLC, or DLC in which it tells the story of the origins of the Hidden Blade, which is the assassin's main weapon.
Yeah.
Throughout all the games. and in the lore of the Creed, and if it's in paid DLC, it's not in the free stuff. So if it's in paid DLC, that means the main game that you buy, what's it got to do with the Assassins? It's set before the Assassins, it's set before the Creed, and you have to pay extra to get the Assassin's Blade DLC. So I don't understand that. I don't understand how this... It seems to be they're selling this game using the Assassin's Creed name to sell copies. It's not actually an Assassin's Creed game.
Right.
So they're going to have to go out their way to link that, and as part of the on-sale price, not extras. Because that's one... I'm loving what they're doing here, the huge game, all the investment, but you have got to make it... You can't sell... Oh, this is FIFA. Well, there's not even any football in it. Yeah, I know, but whatever. You can't do that. The last point here is that an additional bonus to buying the Season Pass is that you get free remasters of Assassin's Creed games, previous ones, which are Assassin's Creed 3 and Assassin's Creed Liberation. Liberation was previously a PS Vita only game before it was moved to the Xbox 360, I think. There was a port to the 360. The fact that it's a Vita game sort of has me fingers crossed that they might port, maybe hopefully eventually, Persona 4 Golden. But that is also a point of... Because that would save it. It would mean that if your Vita broke, you could still have it. But it does beg the question of... were they able to do this because Liberation was previously ported to the 360? But even if they are, just port it to another console and port it... So I'm fingers crossed that bleeds across to other good Vita games, that they can port it to... That would only be a PlayStation, but port it to PlayStation 4 then, I don't care. But we need to save Persona 4. It can't be lost to time. It's too incredible a game.
Yeah.
So, I know that's a weird segue for Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft, but that's how much I love Persona 4. I immediately thought the only game I've got on Persona 4, apart from The Hobbit, that I've played, which was not very good, get me my Persona 4, get it ported so it can be safe and lovely. Safe and lovely.
Stop stroking your face.
Sorry. So yeah, Assassin's Creed is looking incredible, and they've really it's got a great plan, even though they're for some reason late on the New Game Plus stuff, which makes no sense. But it's just you've got to make it an Assassin's Creed game included in the original price. That's concerning me a lot.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I'm thinking...
As someone who's never played an Assassin's Creed game or Persona.
I will hope that you get your way and you get another game that you want, because you seem to be so happy that you might get it.
Persona?
Yeah.
So that's a long shot.
I hope that happens for you.
Yeah. But what do you think about specifically the fact that they've got this weird arrangement of like, we're going to bring out New Game Plus after it's released, and then the fact that the Assassin's Creed part of the name seems to not actually be in the game?
No, I don't like the fact that they're thinking that it's going to take so long for people to play it that they can add on extras afterwards. Add, not so much add on extras, but finish it off, as it were.
No, I don't like unfinished games being released either. I think it's a new trend that I don't like, but I don't mind it if it makes sense. But this is key. New Game Plus means you're banking on people not being finished it.
Yeah.
And it's not an MMO. It's not a like Destiny or something where you can, which is not quite an MMO, but it's something else. But you want content added to something like Destiny after its release, otherwise you get bored. Especially with Destiny because there's nothing in it. But you don't want content added to this, which is New Game Plus. Yeah. Unless the point is you don't want people to be New Game Plusing it until they've done the DLC. Now that I could understand, but then just lock it off.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they mean. Maybe they're unlocking it. Because if the DLC is something you want people to have played as part of the story, and then they start the whole thing again, that makes sense. But then that begs the question of what if people who will not pay for DLC, do they just not get to get New Game Plus? I don't understand. I don't understand what they're doing. I can see reasons for it, but none of them really make total sense.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Oh well.
just leave a big silence at the end. This is me waiting for Abigail to say something about Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
I have nothing to say. I don't know anything about it. Stop looking at me.
Does this sound like a game you would want to play?
Probably once I actually learn how to play games.
Here we are telling you about video games, and one of us can't play them, and the other one doesn't have a TV. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, so after that bombshell, BBC are going to sue us, we're going to say goodbye.
Yes, thank you for listening today.
Thank you for listening, and thank you to Tech Wizard, who doesn't know what a video game is yet, but we're getting there, Abigail Mowat.
And thank you to Tommy, who has no television, so therefore cannot play any games, Anderson.
Seriously, it's beginning to crush my soul. Because I'm not well at the minute, and I'd love to be able to just sit in my room and play games and calm down. But I'm sort of sitting there just looking at this big, blank, empty piece of wall where my TV was, just like...
How the heart bleeds.
So, yeah, thank you for listening.
And if you'd like to leave a comment for us, that would be brilliant, please. We accept any comments, all comments.
Why do you... See, when you lose your way when you're speaking, you start turning your head from side to side like you expect it to be written somewhere. What am I saying? What am I doing? What's going on? Yes.
Don't break the magic of how I don't know how to talk.
I think you're reading the inside of your glasses, right? But you've forgotten that you have to move your eyes, not your head. So you're turning your head to try and see in the corner of your glasses, but you can't because they move with you. We accept any and all comments, as stated several times in many different ways by Abigail, and we're happy for all of them. We'll try and respond to as many as we can. Please like and subscribe below the video. And you can also follow us on Facebook at overshadow.shadowcast. And you can contact us on email at overshadow.shadowcast@gmail.com. So we'll see you next week.
Yes, we will see you.
And hopefully I'll have a TV and have played something, and Abigail will now know what a video game is.
I know what a video game is.
Do you know what the Belgian government is?
Yes, I do.
Right, so we're at least halfway there. Ta-ra!
Bye-bye.